Hello and welcome to my channel. Time has finally come and here is the promised full review of the Zempire EVO TL tent. I do have to emphasize that this will not be your usual review with the tent walk around and showcasing its features, because you can find and see that kind of videos on YouTube already. This review is about the experience of using the aforementioned tent, and when I say experience, I mean experience given by my lovely significant other and me. If you are thinking about getting a large tent but cannot decide easily which one to buy, I hope our little contribution helps. Cheers! Hello, here we are. We are in beautiful Medellin. This is the promised review of the tent, so bear with us. It's not going to be your typical review with the stats and all that shit. I covered that as much as I could in the preview, although I'm a noob at this and all of this is new to me and also to my significant other that I have announced. Here are her thoughts on what she saw in the preview and what she saw now in real. Here you go.
First of all, God, that's big. And the preview doesn't do it, well, it does do it justice, but you can't imagine how big this thing is until you're inside of it. Actually, it doesn't come through in the video. And this is the first time I've seen it pitched. So, yeah, it is absolutely enormous.
You want to say something? No, I don't want to.
I want my 15 minutes of fame. What I wanted to say is, first of all, we have a real wardrobe in there. We have a real bed in there. Well, a big bed, not with a frame or anything, but still a real bed. And it's just, if glamping is anything like this, I really like it. I have to say, it's really comfortable. It's really, I've been normal camping when I was younger, and we went on one normal camping trip, kind of in a small tent, in a smallish tent.
It had its own charm.
It had its charm, absolutely. But this is something else. This is so much more comfortable, and it's like a house. It's like a real accommodation. Honestly, the only test will be, I guess, we haven't slept a night in this tent yet, so we will see what the temperatures will say in the night, if that will be comfortable or not. Because in the other tent, even it was in the height of summer, it was really, really hot outside. But in the night it was cold. It was really cold. I woke up in the night and I was freezing. So we'll see how it is in this tent.
Anyway, so the review, what is it all about now? You probably are asking yourself, like, what are these two even talking about? Like, what the fuck? Frack. Jesus.
What the frack?
Yeah,
yes.
What the frack? Like, the review is about, like, whether you should consider doing something like this
in a tent like this.
in
this tent.
For the feel of it, for the value of it, and for the effort of it. By effort, I mean, like, don't expect miracles. Like, nothing's gonna happen out here on its own. You have to do everything by yourself. If something develops into something undesirable, you have to solve it out. You have to be prepared for shit like that. But in all other aspects, like, we want to do a review just to tell you, kind of like, was it worth it? Like, was it worth it to get this big of a tent, to come to a grand campsite and like to just unpack it, like, you know, put it up and spend 5 nights. You know, I think anything less than 3 nights in this kind of tent would be
Wasted effort.
yeah, idiotic in my opinion. 5 nights would, I presume, be a good measure. We'll see. And
There will be longer trips in the future, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
here we are.
Hi. At the
And,
not quite end of our
yeah.
stay. But
Okay, so the second worst thing happened prior to this journey. I said, like, I don't want to pitch this tent in the rain. I don't want to, you know, take it down in the rain. So the latter part is supposed to happen. Like tomorrow and day after tomorrow is supposed to be like raging thunderstorms, and we need to pack today because there was rain during the night. Not a fucking thunderstorm, but it was a persistent rain all night. The tent held up absolutely beautifully. There's absolutely nothing
wrong there.
yeah, disconcerting there
Yeah.
to report. Like tent like performed beautifully. There was not even condensation inside, although we did have a heater on at all times. Not because it was too goddamn cold, but because I didn't want to have condensation inside, so I don't have to deal with that shit. Because this will have condensation if you are.
It had a bit of condensation in the first night, after the first night.
Yeah,
Not
but
much, but a little bit.
But temperature gradient was a lot from day and night, and you know, our body heat and breaths, like
It was just above the
Yeah.
above the bed, basically.
it was above the bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, since thunderstorms are inbound for tomorrow and day after tomorrow should have been our last day here. We are going to pack today, and so we are doing our review today.
Yeah, after 3 nights instead of 5.
Yeah, so we actually tested that theory that at least 3 nights before you tear down in order to make this like enjoyable, normal, feasible, or what have you. So, yeah, where to start?
3 nights was great. 3 nights you can spend in here wonderfully. You could spend more, obviously. It is very comfy, very nice, very toasty. The heat stays inside from the heater. No rain, as we said, came in. It was just, yeah, perfect, basically.
My conclusions, exactly. I mean, 3 nights is bare minimum, because right now I don't feel like, oh, Jesus, I need to tear this shit down like I've just got here. No, but if we were to have 2 more days, it would be the sweetest of the sweet spots. I can now say that with absolute certainty. And okay, the sleeping was great. I did find out the distance above the bed on just behind the bulkhead number 2, the air bulkhead number 2, had 2 tiniest of holes, which looked like they were done with something very, very, very sharp and pointy. So maybe the price of the tent, the 999 euros, was because they knew that. But we had like constant rain last night, and it didn't matter at all. So this tent absolutely performs beautifully.
okay, I don't want to kind of like test it in torrential rain, not unless I'm really caught in it and I have to wait it out. But I doubted that anything else would happen to this tent. As far as its stability, we had wind. It was not anything like gale-like or whatever, but we had constant wind and it was like blowing and whatnot. This tent barely showed any signs of moving. But I did peg it down with all the pegs I have, like all of them. So we're talking about over 30 pegs around the tent. So it's not going anywhere. So it is as stable as you can possibly imagine. The thing in preview that I mentioned between the two windows, that there is kind of like a mesh thing, it's not. It's actually polyester, and there is something on the other side, so it will not seep the rain through. So you can actually wash the rain through the windows. You can actually pull that down. So that is another plus.
Also, we had the table out last night during the rain. There was stuff on the table. It was all completely dry. It was wonderful. We can still sit here. We can still do our thing. Yeah, the awning held up wonderfully.
Yes, there was a puddle here above, but not in the sense that everything kind of like sagged in. You know, it was just a puddle. Here there is a little less tension, and I just extended it upwards, and everything just slid down the slant, and it was okay. And even in this somewhat weak sun, it dries out fairly quickly. But the rain was anything but clean, and now the tent is full of stains from kind of like dried out
sand or whatever.
yeah whatever. It looks it doesn't okay, it's not that terrible, but you can see it, and my car looks like it has been through desert. But yeah,
for some reason, yeah.
So what can we elaborate more about the interior of the tent? Do we really need the inner tent now that we have spent like time here?
No, I'm really glad that we don't have the inner tent, actually, because it just makes the room so much more spacious. And it's just, for the two of us, we don't need, as I said in the beginning, we don't need the privacy screen, so to speak. And it makes it just like one big room that is really accessible, and really, it just makes you feel free and spacious inside. I don't know.
So what about the bed? I mean, it's not part of the tent. This is we are doing a tent review, but it's not part of the tent.
No.
But like, what about the bed and its size compared to the rest of the tent? And does it fit? Is it kind of like overboard? Is it like
it's a queen size bed?
Yeah,
right?
it's a queen
size bed, and it's an inflatable. It sags a little bit. You always have to tweak it a little bit to get it.
No, but I haven't tweaked it like for the last.
You haven't?
For the last more than 24 hours.
Okay,
I haven't touched it.
I take everything back. And no, the bed is great. The size is great. You still have enough room next to the bed to put a little side table, for example, or to put other stuff next to the bed. It's still, you don't feel cramped at all. You feel completely, even above your head, it's enough space, although it's slanting at the back. But there's enough space for everything. You don't feel cramped or claustrophobic at all. And the bed is fairly high, and still it's high enough yet you don't feel the ground at all, obviously. That it's really bouncy in a way. And yeah, no, there's enough room for a queen-sized bed and all your gadgets that you need around the bed and above your head. Basically, the head space is enough.
So this first camping of ours with this tent, we really went kind of like almost Spartan style. Like we didn't go super overboard with all the interiors. Of course, we have 4 different floor covers, like makeshift floor covers, and yeah, I'm going to try to find 5 by 3 meters ground sheet for the tent, uniform. That's the interior size, approximately, so that when you pitch it up, you just lay that out, and then you don't have to worry about like the creases and whatnot, because it's uniform and like whatnot. That's one thing.
We need a fridge kind of thingy.
Yeah. We also for any like longer stay in this tent, you would need a fridge, just to be able to get more variety of food. Not so much for the drinks. Like drinks are
drinks are fine.
like, but for the food, like you want to buy food enough for like 2 or 3 days, and then you want to store it somewhere where it can actually last for that long, and then you don't have to worry about that shit. But if you have kind of like enough money to kind of like fuck around and frack around and just, I don't know, eat out of restaurants, fast foods, and whatever, like, then you don't need any of that shit. Like you can just like go out and buy yourself whatever you want, because this campsite offers it all. Like, it has restaurants, it has a cafe, it has even a bakery behind us, like, and like you don't have to cook anything actually, but then you have to spend a lot of money to kind of like to indulge yourself.
To go back to the privacy thing
Yeah.
in the inner tent. You don't need the inner. We don't need the inner tent for the privacy screen and anything, and we don't need it for blacking out. As you said, you can just use the. If you really need darkness at night, you can just use eye cover. But what was really great was what I found when I went to the loo. Just here and came back in the night, and the light was on. You couldn't see anything, even without the inner tent. It was just, there was no silhouette, no anything. The light was on inside the tent, but it was completely private. You couldn't see inside any movement, anything.
Which basically tells you that Zempire did a fantastic job of making a canvas that actually is silhouetteless, and that it actually subdues lights from inside in such a way that it's barely seen as light inside a tent.
Yeah.
Silhouettes, I could have like 10 people inside, fist fight, and you would not know it. You would just hear it, Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, like the tent itself, the build quality, like everything. Yeah. Now that we have seen it and used it in action, like lived in it, actually, you can now start to appreciate like finer things, finer points of it. So, was it worth it? Is it worth it? Oh yeah, definitely. But it's only worth it if you really make that decision, like you want to do this, like
Yeah,
you
it's a
want to do
commitment.
this. You cannot know what's it going to be like until you actually do it.
Yeah.
And that's the real gamble. Like, if you're thinking about like should I go into that kind of camping or whatnot, or camping whatsoever, this is not the recommendation for a tent like this, and like everything else you should disregard. Will we use it again? Yes, we will.
Absolutely.
Like, I would really like to see just how far can I push myself with this kind of tent. And what do I mean by that is like in even more adverse conditions. I don't need rain, but I'm talking about like really cold weather and like winter. This is not a warm tent by any stretch of imagination. But if it's like winter, but not cloudy, and it has some weak sun out there, this tent will pick up the heat like nobody's business. So I would like to see that. And the heater that I brought, man, does it warm up the tent. I mean, you can run naked inside. I'm not joking. Like, you can run naked inside.
Honestly, if we didn't have to be back on Sunday, and now with the thunderstorms incoming and with the rain incoming, I would be really curious to see how it. I'm absolutely sure it would withstand all the thunder and rain and everything. I just want to see how it is to be inside the tent during a thunderstorm, during really heavy rain, because it just would be interesting to see how it behaves.
Yeah, but that's the case. Like, since we are in a camp, and we have a car, like, you actually don't have to be in the tent. You go into town and you sit in a cafe bar. You're like,
Sure.
But you need to be smart about this. Like, when you leave tent in the thunderstorm, don't do stupid shit like leave the covers of windows taken all the way down, because that's mesh on the lowest part, and it's gonna just let the rain through. So you need to be smart about this. There's one YouTuber whose video I watched, that left the windows down, they didn't know that it was going to rain or anything. They just stumbled. They just, like, were all of a sudden they went into movies and they were like, oh my God, it's raining outside, and like, oh shit, we left the windows, like, and they came in and the tent was flooded. Inside it was a bathtub, So, like, yeah, when you are going somewhere, no matter how hot it is or whatever, just don't. Just if you need to air the tent, this is the part you open up, because rain cannot fall inside. And there is I need to correct myself from the preview. There is no back door. There is back mesh, and you can use and you can unzip the back canvas into an awning, so that it kind of like airs through the back mesh and through this mesh, and then you have all the ventilation you need for inside not to be a like cooking, like pressure cooker, so.
But that's the great thing about this tent. I mean, the not leaving mesh open during rain is true for every tent, obviously. But this is the great thing about this tent, that you have 2 openings at least that you could theoretically leave open even during rain, and it wouldn't flood.
You can leave. You can open those.
The little ones.
Yeah,
at
the
the bottom.
little ones on the bottom. But there is a caveat there, because the moisture goes through them, and then you have a lot of condensation inside of the tent. You need to be very smart about what kind of where do you leave your meshes open. You need to have an airflow, and not just air condensing inside your tent, because if you leave it from every side, of course you're gonna get a draft here and there, but then the moisture, like when it evaporates in the morning, it's just gonna creep inside your tent. You really need to think that through.
But one thing you also pointed out to me is like how high the bottom part goes up. So the tent could theoretically stand in like 10 centimeters of rain and nothing would get in, because the bottom part is just
like a tub.
Like a tub, yeah, going up like 10 centimeters above the ground. So
basically, if you had basically a flood situation, where the ground is like under up to 10 centimeters of water, this tent could actually withstand it. You would need to wait it out. The ground part of the tent would be I suppose dirty as fuck after it would dry out, but the tent itself inside would not suffer. That is what I think, because from what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, still have to do the experiment at some point, I guess, and
no, you don't
really
have to do the
experience it.
But it's just like
yeah,
the possibilities of this tent are
it's amazing.
are huge.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually, I said in a preview that you don't need the extension awning, but now I can even see I see the appreciation of that awning too. I love this fact that this thing is open in an arch here, and I have a great view, like, to wherever. Right now we are looking at rhododendrons and some trees and like few campers, like, but I can have any view that I want, But with that awning, you can actually
you could have sideways rain.
Yeah. You can actually lie down, for instance, like make yourself a kind of like an inflatable mat situation, like lie down and just watch the rain fall on top of you, like stupid shit like that.
You could sleep out here in the summer, basically. Yeah.
Who would you recommend it to?
I would recommend it to people who who don't need all the luxury and trimmings of a hotel or an apartment, a B&B or an Airbnb, whatever. Who like to be outdoorsy and do stuff themselves, but not like in a very roughed and only sleep in the tent kind of way. Just small enough to just sleep in and do everything outside, because here you really have a house to live in, basically.
You have options.
We have options. Yes, you have accommodation. You have real accommodation, but just not like brick walls and a bathroom, your own kitchen and stuff. But still, you really have room. You really have your own accommodation.
For wild camping, I would say be more basic. Like use smaller tents. But for kind of like elaborate campsites, I would definitely recommend this. What do you think? What would be the outer envelope of time spending in this tent during any kind of vacation?
I think 2 weeks would be a good time. I would like to experience or to see how I would feel after 2 weeks. I can see myself still enjoying it, but then it probably becomes tedious or stale
Yeah.
a little bit after that.
Yeah, we were talking about that
Earlier.
just when we had a coffee earlier, and I was talking about that by the 2 weeks mark, the cognitive dissonance, at least the way I see it, would set in. What do I mean by that? I mean, you have all the amenities here. You have kind of like real toilets, real showers, like with walls, with everything. Like you have sinks, kitchen sinks, like what? I mean, you have it all. And then the cognitive dissonance, the more time you spend here would kind of like entail, like you go to a shower, it's a shower like the one presumably at home, like, and then you're like, yeah, but now I want to get into a real room, like with real walls, and then you come
And a
back to
real
a
bed.
tent, and like it doesn't feel the same. I'm not saying this because this is bad, but like that dissonance, because you are now so accustomed to these amenities that the tent becomes a kind like a bother, you know, not exactly, but kind of like a bother.
The tent is always slightly improvised.
Yeah.
In all the setup and everything, and at some point you just want to come back to for example, a real bed with a real mattress and a real everything, and a real TV and a real, I don't know, sitting corner or table or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I've seen on YouTube people that make even smaller versions of tents so packed up,
Yeah.
and so tidied in that they seriously look like a flat. You know, like there's kind of like not only inflatable bed, there's like inflatable sofa, inflatable like armchair, inflatable like bivy, like I mean everything is like filled. There's like a like carpentry laid down, like all sorts of it, like you don't even see the tent ground, you know, like, which is okay, which is perfectly fine, like, but for that kind of luxury you would need to drive a pickup, you know, like I drive Suzuki Vitara, which is for this purpose, it's like
It's quite big and it's quite roomy.
yeah, but like two more items and the car is like completely full, like there is no room for anything anymore, you know.
The tent is bulky, even packed up. I mean, it's compact and everything, but it has its size. I mean, look at this ginormous thing, and even the package, the bag is still quite bulky on the back seat of the car.
Yeah.
For example.
But the thing is, like, it does take only half of the back seat, which is kind of like,
But you can't see anything at
yeah,
at
but
the
I mean,
window anymore.
that's stupid on its own. Like the tent of this size, like, so, but stupid in a way, like, how, you know?
Yeah.
But it does, like, it takes only half.
I mean, I'm curious to try. Really like living in this tent, and I'm curious to try out all kinds of combinations and all kinds of lengths of stay and all kinds of surroundings and all kinds of weather, whatever.
Yeah.
Because it is a great tent, and I really, for someone like me who isn't really wasn't an avid camper before, I really love staying in this tent. It is really an amazing accommodation, and a real accommodation for somebody.
I agree. So basically, our intent for doing this review is like to give you an idea of the mental state you have to be in to actually, you know, buy this tent and use it. You know, it's not about, like, you know, this is not a
It's not a real glamping tent either. It's
no,
not a
I
real kind of-
I wanted to say something else. It's not like a prick measuring contest, if you will, you know. It's not like I have the biggest one, you know, like mine is like this, yours is like bullshit and whatnot. No, it's not. Like I said, the in a preview, the deciding factor for me buying this tent was the price. That was outrageously low. Like the real price of this tent is 1,800 euros.
Yeah, it's almost double.
I bought it for 999. Like, you can't argue with that price. It's either buy this shit or like you don't know what you want, basically, you know. So
And he
would
did his research. He
Yeah.
looked at lots of tents. He showed me lots of tents.
Yeah.
So yeah.
and so the review is about like if you are thinking about it, and you just want to do it, you have to be real damn certain that you can either sell the tent quickly if you don't like it, or you have to be certain that this is something that you really want to do at least for a while, you know.
It is a commitment.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You have to be ready to commit. Like don't do this half cocked, you know, so to speak. You know, don't do this like that. So my recommendation is to buy the best tent that would suit your needs in a terms like that you don't feel cramped. Of course, you have to know what kind of a car you drive and what capabilities does it have in terms of like hauling cargo and whatnot.
How much fits inside and stuff.
Yeah, but other than that, like it's a no-brainer. I mean, this kind of thing, it's a reward on its own. If you, I mean, I pitched it for the first time like a few weeks ago, you know, on my own, just to see if I can do it. Like it took me a while, you know, like but I wasn't struggling at any point. It just took me a while because I wanted to be meticulous, and I was pretty much faster this time around. I also took my time, my sweet time. I wanted to do it right. I wanted it to be stretched out and like, you know, uniform and whatnot. I've seen people pitch this tent and similar tents, and I've seen sagged parts all over the place and whatnot. You know, like that's because, and they don't use guidelines like all of the guidelines. They are kind of like picky about what they stretch out. Like you have to do it by the book. You know, you have to do it by the book. There's no other way. You know, if you cut corners, something's not going to be right. You know, so yeah, you have to bear everything in mind. Zempire so far has proven like my God, you know, like this is freaking amazing. So if you're thinking about like doing something like glamping or elaborate camping, I would call this actually elaborate camping. Glamping would be if I had inflatable sofa, like softest of cushions, like pillows all over the place, yeah, you know, like whatever, and like cocktail bar, you know, like inside and whatnot. Yeah, there are people that I'm sure you've seen it on YouTube. Like I don't want to go so much overboard, like, you know, like that it's just being preposterous right now, you know. I just want to enjoy, and almost Spartan, you know, setup inside is something that I like. I like seeing room inside my tent, you know. Do I miss something inside? Yes, I do. I miss a good carpet. I miss maybe another table, you know, and fridge.
Yeah.
The wardrobe, it can hold like all the clothes we ever hope to wear, you know, like during, even for 2 weeks stay, like no fucking problem. Like,
Yeah.
so there you have it.
One thing I really liked, and I have no idea, as I said, I'm not a camper really. I was not a camper. How usual or unusual that is, but this kind of setup that you can, like with all the others, you can just either have only the mesh, obviously, or the door, and the door, but you can open them up together. You can just keep the mesh for a bit and then the rest of the canvas for a bit, but it can stay that way, and you just open both together.
Yeah, what she
door.
means, you can partially open the door to expose some of the mesh for the vent,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, I mean, obviously Zempire is not the only manufacturer that does this, but they are one of the better ones that do it, you know,
Yeah,
like so.
yeah.
So this is like it's like a reward system on its own. If you really do your homework and buy the tent that is, you cannot know what's best for you. But if you buy something that makes sense to you, and you have to make damn sure that you know what that sense is, you know. So you have to do your homework and you have to do your research. And what I bought, like it's maybe not what you need, but any piece of information that we have given might help you in any kind of decision. And we live in a world where everybody just wants to grab your money for obvious reasons, like they want to make money out of you, you know, like and others like you. So you really need to know like like how to spend it in an efficient way for you. Like, don't think about others. Use others' experience as a guideline, as something that you can that you can set your base on. You know, like
Yeah,
not as a written law, but something is a base. Like, okay, this guy said this guy said that, this woman said this, like this couple said that. Manufacturer claims another thing, like, but none of these guys ever mentioned it. Like, maybe they didn't pay attention, or maybe like manufacturers will say a lot of things. You know, like sometimes it will be true, sometimes you'll just not see like where is that, like, you know, feasible, possible, or how is that, you know, relevant to anything, you know. But for me, like I said, my biggest grievance with the tent is they should have offered it in the possibility to buy it without inner tent. At least for my preference, you know, because now I have a bulky, you know, mesh shit back home that I probably will not use, you know. But there you have it, you know. Like, hey, if anybody wants to buy a new tent from Zempire EVO TL, like I'm happy to sell the inner tent. Like, I don't need it. Like, I really don't need. Like, is it going to be a soundproofing anything? Are you joking? Like, what is that, a joke? Like, soundproofing what? Like, that's a mesh. That's a mesh with some front panels that have pockets and whatnot. This is what you get: pockets and darkened room. This is what you get. I don't need those pockets. You know, I've seen tents that have those pockets like filled with stuff. It looks like shit to me. You know, it looks like everything is all over the place. I don't like it. You know, I want my tent to be tunnel. Yeah, sure, tunnel, but a lot of room inside. A lot of room inside it. This is what I want, and it actually fulfilled my expectations in that particular case, like to the letter, like no questions asked.
We got one of those boxes you could put in a trunk of a car,
Yeah.
that are foldable, and it proves absolutely better than any pockets in any.
I would say essential.
Yeah.
I would say,
Essential,
yeah,
absolutely,
I would
yeah.
say that's essential. We actually bought a box that's under 20 euros, and it's so sturdy. Like, I was really afraid it would be flimsy, but I was like, okay, for under 20 euros, like, what can you expect? But what we got was like, whoa,
Yeah, absolutely.
like,
yeah.
okay, I'm down with that,
Yes,
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are now thinking of buying actually
Second
another one.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely. Yeah, because it's really useful and really. It takes a lot of. It can take a lot of stuff
Yeah.
inside. It,
It
has
gives
a lot of room
a
for
lot,
stuff.
and it takes
Yeah.
not that much space.
No, absolutely
At all.
No. And again, it's foldable. Afterwards, you can just put it somewhere, and
yeah.
it doesn't take any room at all.
The
Basically,
the wardrobe we bought, it is bulky, but it has its own rewards. Like,
yeah, it is. It is really. It helps a lot to store.
I bought 10 plastic hangers,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, if you hang your heavy shirts like this and your jackets inside, you get to appreciate that, because they don't get kind of like, you know, broken in and like all full of kind of like, you know.
And they don't clutter up the
Yeah.
space. They're just in one place, contained, and everything is tight and neat
Yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah, and you have zippers to kind of like that act like doors.
Yeah, you see that on the footage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, basically that's great. So if you're thinking about doing elaborate camping or glamping or whatever, you can actually have this tent and glamp it out as much as you want. That's all your preference. But tent itself, it's a marvelous thing. Like, it's a marvelous thing. I would love to recommend it to you for the price that I got it, but sadly, it's not possible. Sadly, not possible. That's really a shame. But on the other hand, I was so fucking lucky that I still am wrapping my mind around it. You know, like. But there you go. Like, if that kind of money is really not a problem to you, because you want some solution for vacationing that's gonna last you a while, then yeah, go for it. Like, and yeah, Zempire need not be the only option you have. Like I said, Dometic, Van Gogh, Safari Kabardani, like just check them all out. Even Coleman and even like what was it, like Indian Hills or something like that. Well, there are so many manufacturers. Like I've even looked North Tent, like the Norwegian brand, which is kind of like the army tent, like the cupola tent style. It is far more expensive than this, far more expensive. But I'd never buy it instead of this one. Never. Even for its original price, I would never buy North Tent, because yeah, as far as the room goes, yeah, that cupola style, that's ginormous, you know, like, but it's a different style of tent. And also I looked up some Danish tents, like tent manufacturers, like German ones and like whatever, and I didn't find what I wanted. You know, like Zempire was like, design wise and whatnot, I was like, wow, man, these guys really made a tunnel tent that looks like flashy, you know, like flashy. And when I saw the price, I was like, there has to be a caveat here, you know, like, but there is no caveat, you know, other than the two tiniest of holes I mentioned, you know. Like,
Every time we went out somewhere and came back, and I saw the tent when we rounded the corner, I was just, Jesus Christ, who would buy such a big, bulky tent? What are they trying to prove? But no, it's just you don't need to prove anything. It's just it really is it's worth it, for me at least. I think it would be. If you want to.
I mean, if you intend to use it, I would say it would prove worth it when you start amount the expenses the days of vacation would take you in an apartment, and do the difference between this camping style and the apartment. And I think after 5 or 6 trips like that, this tent will have paid off itself, maybe even less. And that's your gauge, you know. After that, it's not like, okay, I can get rid of it now, because no, that just means that you actually made itself pay off, you know. So if you're looking for something practical and like, but still like want to enjoy something, this might be your solution. Not maybe Zempire itself, but like any other tent that's kind of like,
seems too big to be true.
Yeah, I mean, Zempire offers this line of tents: Evo in TS, like very small size, TM medium size, TL this size, and TXL, which is actually this size tent in length, but it's more wide. It's like over 4 meters wide, and this is huge. But that one is, I think that one is ungodly big. You know, that one's just ungodly. Yeah. I hope this was helpful. You know, like I said, this is not a prick measuring contest, and like you don't need to outperform anybody. You know, like I said it. I'll say it again. I'll repeat it as many times as need be. The price was the determining factor of me buying this tent. So yeah, like I wouldn't give 1,800 euros for this. There are better solutions for less. You know. For instance, Van Gogh 450, Van Gogh and Anthara 450, you know, XL. That tent is better in every aspect than this tent. I'm completely sure, and it's even longer, which is Jesus Christ Almighty, you know. But it didn't cost 999 euros. It cost 1,500 euros. So at least at the site that I was looking at, outdoor Europe or something
Outdoor
like
XL, I think.
Yeah, Outdoor XL, but European version, Outdoor XL EU.eu. So yeah, if this was not available at the price, I would probably do Van Gogh. For a long time I wanted to indulge myself with Boracay from Dometic, but Boracay got sold in both polyester and technical cotton version. I wouldn't buy technical cotton anyway because of the rain and drying and whatnot. And since they didn't have a polyester, yeah, that was no brainer. But I did see something concerning with Dometic. It does have a lot of condensation inside because its mesh setup is not that great. There is a reason why Zempire did a mesh down to the ground. You know, do your research. You will understand. Windows up and mesh down. Condensation, if it builds up upstairs, it will dry off really quick. But if it builds downstairs, it will dry a lot less over time. So, yeah. I mean, Zempire knows what it's doing, you know. So, basically, that's it. Hope you appreciate this format, and yeah.
Hope it was helpful.
Yeah. I'm not about. We were not about to kind of like show you every nook and cranny of this tent. Like I said, go to a Zempire channel or somebody that sells Zempire tents, and they'll show you every you know, like seam, everything you need to see about the tent. That's all true, you know. That's all true. I have nothing to offer you there. I can only say that's all true, you know.
We can
But-
just talk about how it is to use it. Actually.
Yeah. We can say what Zempire or like their the stores that sell Zempire tents can say, and that is how it is to live in it. They just want to sell you the tent, whether it's good, bad, shit, or absolutely fucking great. It's of no consequence. They just want to sell you the tent. But what we provide here is maybe some form of an information that you might appreciate, that might actually like sway you or dissuade you to buy something or to look at something or to be interested in something more or less. And that's it.
Just to make it completely clear again, not sponsored by any kind of tent manufacturer or anything.
Yeah. I mean,
this is completely not a sponsored video by anyone.
If you do not believe me, just look at my subscribers. 31, if I believe, like, whatever.
At the moment, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
whatever,
so.
whatever. Like, I'm not doing this because I want, like, to have 300,000 subscribers or 3 million. Like, I wouldn't know what to do even then. Like, what do I do then? Like, do I quit my job and just start posting shit? No. Like, I'm just a guy that uses the convenience of internet and YouTube to kind of like post this kind of content, and maybe it helps somebody along the line, you know, like, and that's basically what I use YouTube for. It helps me move along. It helps me get along, you know. It helps me decide on a few things that matter to me, you know, like whether it be kind of like practical things or like I don't know, political things, philosophical things, like
Information,
entertainment, like whatever, you know, like that's what I use it for, you know. And I hope this really helps you too. So from me and Insa,
Bye.
bye for now.